We have a treat for us right now. We have one of the founders of Netsuite here, and he is also in charge of security. So he's going to be talking about security and Netsuite. So welcome, Chris. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, check. Is this on? Okay, great. Hi, I'm Chris Blum. I am the Chief Security Architect and a co-founder of Netsuite. And I am truly grateful to have an opportunity to speak with you today. Today I feel like I'm actually in front of the people that believe the way that I believe. And that is the belief that accounting software can change the world. If you didn't believe accounting software could change the world the way that I believe that accounting software can change the world, you wouldn't come as a professor of accounting or a professional in an accounting firm to this conference to learn about how you can take big data and solve the world's problems with big data, and how to teach students and new people to the industry how to solve the world's problems with big data. And that's actually why I started Netsuite. The reason I started Netsuite, there are a lot of reasons why people do things in the world, and there are good motivators and bad motivators. For me, the motivator for doing Netsuite was, at the time it was called NetLedger, it was only accounting, and I was one of 4 founders that joined the company at that time. And there were a lot of good reasons to start a startup in the mid-90s on the internet, to selling to business. But nobody thought accounting was a very good idea to do it. Nobody thought accounting was the path forward to the future at the time. Everybody thought accounting was sort of buttoned up. The software story for accounting in 1998 was you'd install one of your MAS 90 systems or a 360 system in your office. You'd go to Great Plains. You'd run QuickBooks if you were little. When you outgrew that, you'd go to a much bigger on-premise solution and so on. You'd scale up on-premise, scale up on-premise. I believed that that was a completely inefficient way to work, and that as a cool multimedia kid in Silicon Gulch in San Francisco in the 90s, we could start an accounting company and change the world by making accounting available to everyone everywhere, make the accounts lightweight, give them away for nearly free, and then what you'd get was something that was theoretically really valuable, which is business efficiency. The business efficiency was the driver for doing good accounting to begin with, to understand what was going on with business, and that business efficiencies could change the world, reducing the need to commute as often and all those good things, giving access to your account wherever they were in the world, to access your data and help you do your books and so on. And these kinds of ideas for improving business efficiency, it turned out they were reasonably right. We're here now because we have this opportunity to take these business efficiencies that software has given us, that the accumulation of data, and data is accumulating rapidly. Data is probably accumulating something north of 1,000 times more rapidly in the world now than it was at the time of the founding of NetLedger in 1998. We need to understand how to manage that data, how to analyze that data, and how to make better business decisions with that data. And it is my optimism that we can actually solve real-world problems with that data that brings us here now. That brings us to the point where we have a group of idealists and optimists in young people coming out of university that require the education, that require the training that they need to take on the big problems in the world today. As a population ages and the cost of healthcare skyrocket as people age, the issues associated with the environment. In 1998, there was no such thing as global warming, except in 1970s books that no one was reading anymore. It wasn't a real problem that anybody addressed. But energy, health, the costs to do business, the costs for salary management, the costs associated with running distribution and so on. These elements exist in the data. And the problem that we face now is not everyone is doing data analytics. We have tools now to accumulate data, but we haven't taken the problem next step, and we don't have enough expertise in the industry yet to bring forth the answers to the problems that we face. But I believe, like these young people coming out of the schools, that these are solvable problems. And we can solve them with the tools that we have now. The next step, of course, is getting the tools in their hands and getting them the training to do these problem-solving skills that they don't have yet. How do we train them? NetLedger became Netsuite, and NetSuite's in the news recently for a couple of big reasons. But NetSuite is growing as a business, and has been growing as a business, even more rapidly recently than ever before, primarily due to 2 reasons. One, Business has changed in the last 18 years. Since 2000, we had the dot-com bust and thousands of companies went out of business. In 2008, we had the Great Recession, and tens of thousands of businesses went under at that time. Now, when that happens, it actually creates opportunity for a large number of new businesses. And the businesses that have been founded since 2008, the businesses that have grown up since the Great Recession, as our economies have bumped along and improved, so many of those businesses select NetSuite to run their business. It is the out-of-the-box choice. I'm going to be a business. I want to run online. I need to be nimble. I need to be a cloud. I need to be mobile. I need a workforce that can work anywhere in the world. I need flexibility of wage selection. As a result, I need to find expertise where it lives. I can't run a small on-premise shop. I have to be a cloud. And if you want to be cloud and you want to integrate all your data in one solution so that you don't have to try to hook together 1,000 systems, people choose NetSuite. And the numbers bear it out. Thousands and thousands of small to mid-sized businesses that have grown and become successful since the culling of business during these last 2 decades, they choose NetSuite to start. And it grows with them. The consequence, though, is NetSuite, as a business software purveyor, is starved for students who understand how to use the software and how to maximize its potential to find the problem solutions that exist. And so we've gone to a number of schools. I think we're in 200 schools or something this semester teaching classes. The professors in 200 schools, excuse me, are teaching classes on NetSuite right now. And that's great. We're grateful for that. And that's a good start. But thousands and tens of thousands of jobs related to NetSuite expertise will go unfilled this year alone because there are an insufficient number of trained workers who can do the job. The consequence of that, of course, is business suffers. I'm in security now. I chose as a particular area of personal growth and development within NetSuite as we grew and became a much bigger organization. I focused on security. Security, I think, is really important for a variety of reasons. And when I go speak at universities with professors on security topics, I give them the number that about 1 million cybersecurity jobs are going to go unfilled in 2016 because of a lack of unskilled workers, that the workforce is not adequately trained to produce enough workers that fill these cybersecurity jobs. And the universities, well, if you look at top percentage of universities right now, top universities in the country that teach application security to engineers, you get about a 30% rate. Most engineering schools are still teaching classic computer science classes to their software engineers, and they're turning out good software engineers, but as a body of engineers, only 30% of them are taking any courses that relate to writing more secure software. That's a bad deal. Software security problems are rampant. We have a huge number of breaches in the news. There's the blood on the papers from hundreds of companies, and the data breaches are only getting worse. It's leading to a number of regulators showing up across the world and trying to impose newer laws with bigger fines and greater consequences for companies that fail to provide security. But it can be prevented, but we need to scale up that 30% number to closer to 100%. And the sad fact, even worse, is exactly 0% of top universities are requiring graduates to have even taken the class that they offer. So of those 30% schools, it's an optional class, and I imagine that we're not getting 100% enrollment at those schools as well as a consequence. So to bring it back to what we care about, getting the right tools in front of the students is key. And to date, it seems like one of the showstoppers for the people in this room has been not having the right kinds of tools, technology, and the data that drives the ability for you to take the software tools that are being shown to you today and apply them in the classroom. How do you take NetSuite and go to a student and say, okay, student, here's NetSuite, I've got it all set up, I've got it populated with a bunch of stuff. Oh, wait. How are you going to get populated with the data? The hand entry of data is miserable. The management of all the data and getting a reasonable data set is hard. Getting rights to data is a challenge. I can tell you as a data security professional that the privacy people out in the world are really, really coming down hard on the right to use certain categories of data. And so you're not going to be able to pull in data from the universe and bring it into your data set. And coming up with a from-scratch data set is just too challenging. I think there's a solution. And I'm not going to reveal it to you right now, but I think the solution is coming. And I think the answer to the solution exists in cloud software first and foremost. And I will tell you why the answer is in cloud software. Because whatever data set you have, whatever research that you're doing, whatever student body that you have that comes into your classroom, you don't want to be the IT department that's owning and managing a stack of software. You don't want to be the IT department that's managing the accounting systems. You want to make sure that you've got a dynamic partner for teaching the courses that are relevant to the graduates that are coming out of your departments and going into a cloud world to do analysis on big data with cloud tools, and that your tool set matches what they're actually going to use in that real world, and that it's easy for you to turn it up, implement it, manage it, and shut it down at the end of a semester, and then do it all over again, right? Over and over, it has to be a simple, repeatable cycle that is providing a real value to the students that show up in your classroom, and that you can teach them the meaningful things that you teach them about it, which, frankly, I know nothing about, right? My financial accounting background dates back to 1998 when I took a financial accounting book, and I opened it up, and I learned how to write some algorithms that would do double entry accounting on account balance sheet, and I went back to doing what I could do, which was software development. But frankly, I am a bad business manager, and frankly, I'm a bad accounting person. But that's great. I don't need to be those things. I'm in security. I found my niche where I do the best thing that I have. And the truth is, that's what we need from everybody coming out of school. They have to be good at what they do, and we need you to teach them to be good at this. Because we have real problems, and we can really solve them with the tools that we've got. You're responsible for delivering them to the world. Because without them, there's no one else that's going to solve these problems. It is in the hands of business primarily to be motivated to attack the biggest problems in the world, because they have the resources and the motivation to do it in a way that for-profit motivation leads to change. And so I'm going to stop there. I'm out of time. I want to thank you all very much for letting me speak to you today. Thank you.